Who is Queen Cleopatra, and why does she keep showing up in my feed? Let's talk about Allure, Egypt's most famous export besides, of course, cat videos. Well, she was the last active ruler of the Ptolemaic dynasty in Egypt, a Greek family that took over after Alexander the Great died. Think of it like this: she's the reason we have the phrase Cleopatra complex, because every time a new king came to power, it was assumed that they would marry their sibling, like a little too close for comfort. But hey, at least she was down to earth. She actually lived in a palace made out of mud. As the Queen of the Nile, she was known for her vast wealth, but also for being a bit of a drama queen. Seriously, there were civil wars and palace coups happening left and right. Oh, and not to mention she had to deal with the rising power of Rome. So, just your average teenage queen stuff. But what really made Cleopatra stand out was her beauty. They don't call her Cleopatra for nothing. When you think of ancient Egypt, you likely think of pharaohs, pyramids, and the occasional mummy. But did you know that Egypt's last great pharaoh was a queen named Cleopatra VII Philopator? That's Greek for I love my kingdom. Born in 69 BC, Cleopatra was the last active ruler of the Ptolemaic dynasty, a Greek royal family that took the throne after the death of Alexander the Great. Though Greek by origin, Cleopatra identified more with her Egyptian subjects than her predecessors did and made a point of embracing Egyptian culture. She learned the language, supported the traditional religion, and most conspicuously wore those fabulous white robes and headdresses favored by Egyptian queens. In fact, she was the first Ptolemaic ruler to do so. Cleopatra's kingdom was not just a small slice of Egypt, it encompassed a vast territory. We're talking the whole shebang from the Mediterranean Sea to the Sudan. However, let's be realistic. Most of the action took place in the capital, Alexandria, a major center of culture and learning in the ancient world, and home to the world's largest library. Cleopatra's reign was not without its challenges, to say the least. There were civil wars, sibling rivalry, assassination attempts, and that time her sister tried to steal her throne by hiring a hitman. Meanwhile, the ever-expanding Roman Empire was becoming a big problem. They even killed her father, Ptolemy XII, and installed her as co-regent while she was just 14 years old. Talk about a rough childhood. But Cleopatra was smart and savvy, and over the next decade managed to fight back against the Romans and secure her kingdom's independence. Not only that, she formed powerful personal and political alliances with two of Rome's most influential leaders, Julius Caesar and Mark Antony. But what about Cleopatra's beauty? Ancient texts make much of her stunning good looks, but most historians agree that Cleopatra was more charismatic, intelligent, and charming than conventionally attractive. Take the coins minted during her reign. They show a more practical, perhaps plain-looking face, but with an undeniable regal bearing. History.com reports that Cleopatra could speak as many as 9 languages, including Egyptian, which was rare for someone in her family tree. And according to Roman historian Plutarch, she had a sharp wit and was highly educated in philosophy, politics, mathematics, and rhetoric. No wonder she was so persuasive. So was Cleopatra the world's first femme fatale? Perhaps. But she was also a shrewd political operator trying to preserve her kingdom's independence in an era when that was increasingly difficult to do. In 32 BC, Cleopatra and Mark Antony suffered a decisive defeat at the hands of Octavian, later known as Augustus Caesar, at the Battle of Actium. With their defeat, Egypt was left vulnerable to Roman conquest. Rather than face capture, Cleopatra famously took her own life, reportedly by the bite of an asp, a type of cobra, in 30 BC. With Cleopatra's death, Egypt lost its independence and became a Roman province. The Ptolemaic dynasty ended, and the era of the pharaohs was over. For more on Cleopatra, check out our series on her tragic love affair with Roman general Mark Antony. Or watch this video about an ancient Egyptian city that was recently discovered under a McDonald's. But sadly, that's all we really know about her because all the other records were lost when her kingdom was conquered by Rome. The end.